I'm starting to think the Democrats are way too fractured to actually pull off a win in 2020 and maybe even 2024. And hear me out, right? So we got the story from BuzzFeed News. In a private meeting, Kirsten Gillibrand signaled she will run for president. On Saturday, Gillibrand met with feminists and influential women in the days before she's expected to announce her candidacy, a preview of the kind of campaign she'll run. Gillibrand previously tweeted the future will be intersectional. This is a specific ideology that is becoming more and more pervasive. It's left-wing identitarianism, but it's not completely dominating the entirety of the left, right? There are people on the left who are mainstream centrist Democrats who don't hold these views or are very critical of it. Notably, like, I'm one of them for the most part. I wouldn't call myself a Democrat, though, but center-left. What I'm trying to say is, one thing I bring up all the time is that chart, the graph from The Economist, showing how Republicans have sort of narrowed into a core set of beliefs, and the left has spread out further and further left. What I think is going to happen, and the reason why I think we have such a huge field of potential Democrats, is because the ideology is split that far and wide. When Kirsten Gillibrand is meeting with feminists and talking about intersectionality, yeah, she's going to a specific brand of the left that won't be enough to get her elected. In fact, too many people oppose that. And I'm not talking about on the left, right? I think for the most part, the left supports left-wing identitarianism, but in combination with the center-left, the center, and everyone on the right opposing this left-wing identitarianism, then you're likely not going to get the support you need to actually win. It's going to be really difficult for any Democrat. A centrist Democrat is going to be just berated in the press and attacked by people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. You've got Tulsi Gabbard who's running, and they're saying she's a moderate Republican. You can't win. They're all going to be chewed out, and the media is going to go after them for the ratings. Well, let's read what's going on with Kirsten Gillibrand, and then I got another story about... Actually, this is the issue, What lanes will the 2020 Democratic candidates run in? So first, we'll read a little bit about Gillibrand, because I want to get to the point where she's meeting with these diverse groups of people. New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand on Saturday signaled to a group of about 20 influential women that she will run for president, according to a person familiar with the meeting. Gillibrand made her intentions clear to the source, who asked not to be identified, to speak about the event. Gillibrand said that she needed their help if they would offer it to her. The closed-door gathering was attended by feminist Gloria Steinem, the source said. A second source reached by BuzzFeed News confirmed the meeting took place, but would not elaborate on what was said. The multiracial and multi-generational group came from the worlds of art, academia, business, tech, and literature, according to the source. Although Gillibrand is not the only woman likely to run for president, she is the candidate whose campaign will most focus on gender. The New York State signature issues have been women's issues, such as how military sexual assault is prosecuted and Me Too in politics. Her outside group focuses on funding women candidates for office, something on display as a record number of women ran in 2018 when Gillibrand herself was reelected in New York. Now, I'll say this. I believe this may actually be the best chance of winning, but I still don't think it'll be enough of a coalition. 68% in the last poll that I've talked about, 68% of millennial women are Democrats, and about 45% of millennial men are Democrats, which means there is a decently large size of people. Just about half of all men and 2/3 of women will hold similar ideology. Not all Democrats hold this ideology, so let's shave off a few points for that. It may be the biggest group. However, then you have to consider that Gen Z is more conservative. They are. They're more likely to be conservative, and they're going to be first-time voters coming into 2020. Thus, I think it's fair to say, when the media like, BuzzFeed, Vox, Vice, Huffington Post, repeatedly attack people, YouTubers, Gen Z, which loves YouTube, don't want to believe in this ideology. It's not fun. Trump just made a joke on Twitter that was actually really funny. It was about Elizabeth Warren, and her husband on the live stream shows up and she says, "Thank you, I'm glad you're here." Trump said, it's his house, he's supposed to be there. And it's actually really funny and family friendly. And you're going to see that kind of shit posting and this the edgelord stuff Trump does. Young people are going to like that. I kid you not. Young Gen Z people who love meme culture and love the internet are probably laughing that they have a meme president. It's an ongoing joke. So yes, she might get the progressive, self-righteous, virtuous millennials. But is she going to get Gen Xers and Boomers? Probably not, because they're probably not going to be intersectional, they're not going to be identitarian. And neither will Gen Z. She is targeting millennials specifically. Now, if she ends up using that to win the primary, then yes, she will get everyone else who will begrudgingly say, okay, we're going to vote for her because it's better than nothing. But There's going to be people like me who would absolutely not vote for an identitarian. Sorry, Kirsten Gillibrand, you're identitarian. I will never, never vote for you under no circumstances. Okay? Period. Honestly, I would be more likely to vote for Trump than Kirsten Gillibrand, who is embracing overt identitarianism. And I'm just saying more likely to, because I'll never vote for Trump either. But Trump is only accused somewhat of embracing identity politics. For the most part, he kind of doesn't. He doesn't. Maybe in tiny bits, maybe, like identity issues come up. But for the most part, when you have a candidate meeting with groups overtly talking about identitarianism, it's like, sorry, you gotta go, okay? Bernie Sanders is actually okay, but he's played too much into this. So I'm not entirely sure who I'm excited for necessarily. Maybe Tulsi, maybe a good choice. And it's also possible, as I'm used to, that who I want just is never going to get elected in the first place. But I'll say this, Jill Stein, no way. Because I'm pretty sure she goes overt identitarian too. And the left is really being just inundated with overt identitarianism. So, and I'll explain that because a lot of right-wing identitarians get mad because they're like, the identitarian movement is about white people or something. I'm like, no, that's just you co-opting the word identity plus Aryanism, which is like government function or belief in identity and political function. So authoritarian, libertarian, identitarian. Libertarians meaning they want a system that's based around liberty, authority is a system based around authority, and identitarianism is a system based around identity. I do not like identitarianism or authoritarianism, but for the most part, the primary reason is that people like Gillibrand are authoritarian identitarian, right? Like, if you want to be a libertarian identitarian, it's kind of like, yeah, sure, okay, whatever. Because all you're going to do is ask people to hear you out and try and vote on something, and I'm going to say no. That's why I'm pretty chill with left and right libertarians. They're people who are like, can we agree to this? And I say, I guess we can't. And they say, damn, that sucks. What do we do? Let's figure it out. Authoritarians are the ones who throw glass bottles through windows and threaten people and smash things, and they tend to be supported by people like Gillibrand when they I don't know if she's overtly defended Antifa, but what really bothers me too is people try and claim that Antifa is left libertarian, and I'm like, no. Libertarian does not include using violence against other people. That's an assertion of authority. True anarchists, like left or right, believe you cannot use violence and coercion against other people. Well, actually, ANCAPs, I think, are actually okay with manipulative force, but not coercive force. Like coercion being like, do this or I'll hurt you, and physical force being like, I'm hurting you now to make you do it. Manipulative force is lying and tricking people. I disagree with that too. But listen, left libertarian on the quadrant is not Smasherkey and Antifa. No. Left libertarian is a guy with dreadlocks and a tie-dye shirt sitting back with his feet up smoking pot saying, so, like, what do we do? And you're like, I don't know, maybe we should do this. And they go, yeah, okay, I guess. Or they'll be like, I don't really want to do that because, I don't know, man, that's just not a good idea. And then you go, okay, and that's it. Antifa is statist, authoritarian left, who typically, like, they're communists. Not all of them, they're communist socialists and some anarchists. But it's actually, the anarchists who are within Antifa, it's actually a weird, it's like they use authoritarianism in an attempt to destroy the system to create a system of anarchy, right? But I would say, in the end, they're authoritarian. They believe in the right, they believe in a system based on their authority to force something into being. Now, they might not believe in a strong authority figure, but they certainly believe that their ideology is an authority above all else. And thus, Antifa is top left, authoritarian left. Stop ragging on the left libertarians who probably never even engage in conversation for the most part because the libertarian left are the people who are doing acid on a farm and aren't really paying attention. All right? I hope that's clear to everybody. Anyway, I'm not going to necessarily... This is an interesting story. I'm not going to read through it necessarily, but the point is, what lane are they going to choose? Populist? You know, are they going to target economics? Are they going to target gender and identity? And it looks like Kirsten Gillibrand is going hardcore into gender, which is intersectional feminism and identitarianism. So let's just see. They say, since her appointment to the Senate in 2009, Gillibrand has become one of the top figures in Democratic national politics. As one of the most high-profile figures in the Senate, Gillibrand has been a major proponent of the movement to eradicate sexual harassment. She has come under fire, however, from some who believe she too aggressively advocated for Al Franken to leave the Senate after allegations of sexual harassment against him came to light. Yes, she's a rather extreme individual. Okay, what Al Franken did, if you're not familiar, he made a gesture towards a woman, and it looks like his fingers are on her chest. It was a woman who was wearing, she was in the, I believe it was the army, and he took a picture of him, like, pretending to grope her chest, and I think it was wrong. I don't think he should have resigned over it. I think everyone's overly sensitive and it's ridiculous and silly, and she's one of the people who is pushing for this overly sensitive and ridiculous and silly kind of behavior from people. So, no, Al Franken should have apologized, and I don't think what he did was appropriate, but I'm also at the point where it's like, he didn't actually grope her, he was trying to be stupid and funny, and it was inappropriate outright, and yes, he should apologize and take that into consideration when it comes to re-election, but man, like, there are people working in Congress who paid off the people they've abused, and we're never going to hear about it, and you're concerned about what Al Franken did? Don't get me wrong. What Al Franken, I'll say it again, it was wrong of him to do that. It was very, very wrong. I actually really don't like the man because of him doing that, but I also think we got to be tempered in our reactions and say, okay, hold on. Okay? There's a line and there's nuance here. Al Franken was trying to make a dumb joke. It was inappropriate. He should apologize. All right? There's a difference between that and what some of these other politicians have done and who they've paid off. Anyway, we'll see what happens as time goes on. Thanks for hanging out. I'll have more videos in the main channel tomorrow at 4 p.m., and I'll see you all then.